Fixed bayonets, comrades. This is the Chief Guard of the Republic Veteran Radio Shoutout Show with your host, Chief Warrant Officer 5, Michael Francis Tuman. Every Saturday, noon to 1 on WRMN 1410 AM, the Fox River Valley Media Network out of Elgin. Streaming on WRMN1410.com. Follow us on Facebook Live. The studio number for call-ins is 847-931-1410, or hit me up in the Facebook comments. So, last week I was discussing space travel and how it was likely that this was only going to be done by a private organization rather than expect any government to actually go forward into space. This week, after having a couple American Legion meetings, I wanted to discuss something called the National Defense Service Medal. This is when I joined the Legion in the late mid 90s. I joined the American Legion. Even though I'd already been in over a dozen years in the military, I wasn't able to join the Legion on account of I didn't have active duty time during a time when the National Defense Service Medal was authorized. This medal came out in the 50s under President Eisenhower, and he backdated it to 1953, although I think he signed it in 1954. It got backdated to 53. And that is the bare minimum that you used to need to be part of the American Legion, was a National Defense Service Medal. So, like, the medal was open for backdated for times of service during World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam, and then the first Gulf War. It opened up again. It closed in 1995, and then it opened up again in 2001 after 9/11. But very recently, 2022, that award was closed again. So before 2019, that you needed bare minimum that award to join the Legion. And now, after the Legion Act, as long as you served 1 day of active duty at any time since December 7th, 1941, and if you were on active duty before December 7th, 1941, please call in, because I think they can make an exception for you there. So you're entitled to join the Legion by an act of Congress that was signed into law by President Trump. So now, a lot of people don't know that 2019 law came to pass. And when we're looking at the American Legion and other veteran organizations, we have a constant decrease in membership. And it's not that we have a decrease in veterans, but we had a lot of veterans that had served, especially during the Gulf War. Since 2001, a lot of Guard guys, a lot of reserve guys that wouldn't normally not have been on active duty, it got activated and got the National Defense Medal. So even before the law passed in 2019, these guys were able to join. Then after 2019, guys that didn't get activated, that just did their time strictly in the reserves or the National Guard, they're able to join also, because they had at least 1 day of basic training. That's the minimum requirement now is 1 day of active duty, currently serving, or have been discharged under honorable conditions. So why is the membership decreasing when we have a membership pool out there? A lot of people say, well, it's an old man's organization. And that's true, because people have their lives going. They have things doing with young families with their kids. Nowadays, they might be working 2 or 3 jobs, and they just can't find the time for a purely voluntary organization. And yeah, that's so right now, 1990 was Desert Storm when we called up a lot of people. A lot of people got called up for Desert Storm, which would have made them entitled to join the American Legion or the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and they got shipped overseas. Well, why aren't they joining? Because they should be in, the youngest ones would be 52 years old now, approaching retirement age or having their life set so that they have more free time. I mean, your kids are usually grown by then. You got a career, you're set in it, you're getting better time off. And I was at a couple of our Legion meetings, and I'm not putting down the Legion in any way because the Legion is just an organization, but it is made up of people. And unfortunately, some of the people in the Legion think it's a little bit more than it is. Right? It's a voluntary organization, right? And you're voluntarily elected in. You know, no one could elect you in or make you do a job against your will. So you're voluntarily elected in to be a leader within that organization. And some people take that a little bit too much to heart, and it goes a little bit too much in head. And we've seen that in the military. We've all seen it in the military, where some of our bosses, you know, think they're actually bigger than they are, and they don't have to behave that way, and they don't have to treat people poorly or with disrespect or that they're lower than them, but they tend to, you know. And I've seen that with a lot of these older guys have gotten into that. I've been the commander for so long, and I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm like, okay, well, you can tell me what to do, right? But it's a voluntary organization, right? And I can voluntarily leave, and there's nothing to make you stay here. The other thing is, unfortunately, some of these guys, you know, there's a volunteer army. The last draft was in 1975. Everyone since 1975. Well, wait, I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. The Vietnam era ended in 1975. The last draftee was drafted in 1973. So we're looking at 51 years since the last person was drafted, right? So actually, they were pretty much involuntarily called up to service. And they were sent places that they definitely didn't want to go. And they may have had a bad time of it or anything. But to think that, oh my, I don't want to offend everyone on this, but some guys think that their service was more important than someone else's. That's the bottom line, right? And in truth, no one's service is more important than anyone else's. No one. If you go and you volunteer and you serve and you end up in a logistics unit stateside, or you're still doing a job to support the front lines. If you end up in a frontline unit, you're not going to do anything with that logistics guy back in the rear helping you out all the way through. And when we get into the Legion and to these volunteer organizations, we as a whole, and me too, I'm probably guilty of a little bit of it. You know, having served 3 tours in Afghanistan and everything, I get a little full of myself, but I got to correct that. You know, I got to keep that in check. So if any of you veterans are out there are getting angry with me about what I'm talking, or any Legion members or VFW members or Disabled American Veteran members or Polish Legion of American Veteran members or Italian veteran members or any of these veteran organizations, if you disagree with me, please call in and we could discuss it. The other thing, the key thing here, and I don't want to be a political show, all right? We all know the election's coming up. But what I saw in 38 years in the service, you see several different, what do you call it? I forgot the word, yeah. Generations, several different generations. I saw clearly three different generations come in. And as I was leaving, the last generation was a lot more left of center than you would think for a military member. Everyone thinks that the military members are ultra conservative right wing. That is not true. We cross the spectrum of the political field, right? The spectrum. We all remember that one guy that graduated from West Point and had a Che Guevara shirt on, you know, and he was preaching communism. He had graduated from West Point. Did his whole 4 years. So veterans, I think that a lot of these younger guys that could be joining the Legion right now are not doing it because they see us all as a bunch of old, ultra-nationalistic right-wing guys. And that's not true. I wouldn't say I was ultra-right-wing. I always vote my conscience, all right? I will look at something and I'll say that either that's right or wrong in my head. And of course, you're always going to vote in your best self-interest. But for the Legion, to get members in there, I think we have to push a more open thing. We are not a political organization. When someone starts to talk about politics in our meetings, we should be shutting them down. All right? We shouldn't be out there supporting any political party. I mean, if they want to support us, that's fine, and we'll acknowledge that they supported us. But we shouldn't be out there as their political arms. That's absolutely not right. The Legion wasn't made for that. And personally, I think that's what's keeping a lot of the younger generation from joining us. So when we get back, I'll discuss this in a little finer detail, especially other things. I hope younger veterans call in and come talk to me. So right now, we're on 1410 AM. Our call-in show number is 847-931-1410. If you go to YouTube Live, you can also ask questions in the comments. Thank you.
This is the Chief Guard of the Republic. It's Mike Tuman, and we're back in a moment. It's 12:18 on a Saturday, right here on WRMN. Stay with us. We're also taking comments on YouTube, and I have one to relay to Mike right when we get back from the break.
It's easier than you think for pests to threaten your family's health. Ticks, which spread dangerous diseases, hide in tall grasses and even on your pets. Rodents easily invade your home, contaminate food, and can carry more than 35 diseases. Mosquitoes, which breed in standing water, transmit many diseases. Get the facts you need to protect your family at pestworld.org. It's that easy. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
You never know what or who you'll hear from on the first shift with me, Marky B. Like Tim Skoning, a WRMN news reporter back in the 1960s.
The jingles you all played, they were purchased by Dick Sutter. He was at some radio convention. He came back with this reel. I remember them playing that in the studio. We were so excited. We thought we were network now. And it's the same jingles today.
That's great.
Every time I hear them, I get excited about it.
I'm sure.
It's a lot of fun.
Fun times on the first shift, right here on WRMN, AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Crime is up in Illinois, and I'm not sitting back to wait and watch dangerous, radical left policies destroy Kane County. I'm Andrew Sosnowski. I have over 35 years of experience with prosecutions of crime, advocating for victims and children. I will root out the causes of crime and be the lead county prosecutor who will fight for our freedom, safety, and security. Vote Andrew Sosnowski for Kane County State's Attorney. I'm Andrew Sosnowski, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sosnowski for Kane Committee.
In our household, we put family first. I'm Dan Ugasti. Right now, Illinois families are suffering with rising property taxes and grocery bills, along with communities that are left safe. Keeping family members from moving out of Illinois isn't easy. As your state representative, I'm working to be a voice of reason in a time of extremism. That means I'm focusing on the issues that unite us, bringing down property taxes, creating opportunities, and controlling government spending. I'm Dan Ugasti, and I'd be honored to have your vote.
Paid for by Citizens for Dan Ugasti.
Let me tell you a story about Bill. Bill was a normal guy in his 50s. He had back surgery about 2 years ago. Bill was in a lot of pain. He dealt with his pain by taking the Percocets his doctor prescribed for him. Bill took more and more and more of them to help with the pain, until one day the prescriptions weren't enough to get rid of Bill's pain. Then one day Bill found someone to help him get rid of the pain with illegal drugs he didn't need a prescription for. Fast forward to today. Bill lost his job and his family. The only thing he does have is his drug dealer. If you know Bill's story and you don't want to end up like Bill, call the Detox and Treatment Helpline right now to get away and get treatment. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. Call right now. Help is standing by. 800-694-1127.
Six Bayonets, comrades, this is Chief Guard of the Republic Veteran Radio Shoutout Show with your host, Chief Warrant Officer 5, Michael Francis Tuman. Every Saturday, noon to 1 on WRMN, 1410 AM, the Fox River Valley Media Network out of Elgin. Streaming on WRMN1410.com. You can follow us on Facebook Live. The studio call-in number is 847-931-1410, or hit me up in the Facebook comments. I guess we already got a comment here from Daisy V. He's asking if the draft registration is still open, and yes, you have to. Every U.S. male citizen, 18 years of age, must be registered for the draft. I'm still registered for draft. That's one thing I did when I was 18, and he asked if females have to be registered for the draft. No, they do not. I mean, they tried to pass that law through Congress. I think a congressman introduced it. It didn't even get out of committee. It didn't go anywhere. Now, that is not to say that female soldiers are not necessary and needed in the military services. I have worked with many, many female soldiers. One of them was my ex-wife, and she was a fantastic soldier. Absolutely, you would want a bunch of her in your military because she was just very diligent about the job that she did. She really cared. So I worked with other female soldiers that were really great at their jobs. They did a great job. But just like the males, there were bad female soldiers too that you wouldn't want in anyone's military. And they seemed to go real high up because they had no qualms about what they did. I'm sure a lot of male soldiers did that also, but no, female soldiers do not need to register for the draft. Females 18 do not need to register for the draft. And there's some theories on that. One of them is that the reason you don't want to draft your females into your military is that sometime when the war ends, you're going to have to repopulate your population, and you want females capable of having children that haven't been greatly wounded. Not only females capable of having children, but keep females capable of nurturing these children and being good mothers and everything, to raise children to replace the population that was lost, to replace your good people that were lost. So a society that has to draft its women to fight its wars is a dying society and probably going to lose the war. Now, the Russians, in limited quantities, I'm sorry, I got to correct myself again. I keep falling into this trap. The Soviets, all right, there's a difference between a Russian and a Soviet, all right? The Soviets during World War II, yes, they had female pilots, female bomber pilots. They had female snipers. They had many females in their service doing very frontline jobs. All right? That was limited in numbers, and it wasn't a large percent of their population. But they did work very effectively. For the most part, 99%, I would say the females in our service are very effective. But if you have to rely on that other 50% of your population to fight your war for you, there's a problem, and you need to rethink the way you're fighting the war. So I hope that answers Daisy V's question. No, you don't. A female, 18 years old. Someone might say it's unfair. Hey, it's unfair. Females are equal to males in every way, except that males can't. Oh wait, I'm going to get in trouble. Males cannot have children. That if you got an XY chromosome, you're not going to have kids. You don't have the parts for it. All right. I'm sure in the future they may work on transplanting the organs required for that. And I hope they do, because that means they'll be transplanting a lot of other organs, like better heart transplants, better lungs, better kidneys, maybe even in the future a brain transplant. But I hope, people are going to get upset with me, but that's the truth, all right? So even if you got a chicken farm, how many roosters do you need? How many chickens do you need to lay eggs? That's flat out. You only need one rooster.
Yeah.
You can have 100 chickens, but that's just the way the world works. I raise bees, so I got 2 beehives back in the city. All right, and the funny thing is, in nature, especially in the insect nature, the males are, except for fertilizing the female, the males are useless. Fertilizing the queen. They don't fertilize anything else but the queen. The other female bees are capable of laying eggs, but they don't, because they don't get fertilized, like the queen did. All right, so the female bees do all the work. They tolerate the males. They just tolerate them until right around late October, when they kick them all out of the hive and let them starve to death. So that's pretty brutal, but they're talking about saving the species. All right, I would say the same thing goes with drafting females into your service. You're not working to save the species or your country or whatever. All right, so getting back to I see a great lack of female veterans in the Legion, the American Legion, because I know there's a lot more of them out there. We have some very great female Legion members, especially in my 9th district. Some women that I highly respect, and I lean on them for their experience in the Legion and to help me out and to hold my feet to the fire when I need to do something. So I have respect for them. I love women in the service, but as soon as you mandate that, I think that's going to be a big problem. All right. Now, okay, so I'm going to get really trouble here. Real trouble. If you started drafting females into the service or threaten them with the draft and threaten to send them to the front lines because, hey, once you draft them, now they could be in the infantry. We got female rangers and everything. But we're training, and we're training to drag a wounded soldier off the battlefield, and they make the body armor now with like a handle on it, so you could just grab it and drag the guy in his body armor. It kind of holds on to him. It's like a handle for a 250-pound guy with all this equipment. And this one female went out, and she's tugging on the guy, and he ain't moving. He's dead weight. So I go and I grab him, and I literally just rip him out of the way, and I says, that's the way it's done. But okay, I'm 225 pounds, So there's a problem there. You could give them the job, but can they physically do the job when necessary? All right, so we'll come back, and I'll get back on the why I think we need a lot younger Legionnaires in the American Legion and other things. So this is 1410 AM WRMN out of the Fox River Valley Media Network. Call us in when we get back, 847-931-1410.
School, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. You've talked with your kids and shared clear expectations, but you're not with them every minute. Your community members, friends and relatives, teachers and coaches, faith leaders, and other important adults in your kids' lives can be your eyes, ears, and a supportive influence when you're not around, reinforcing your messages with your kids and alerting you to warning signs of underage drinking or other substance use. So talk with your kids about these issues and involve the members of your community to help keep your kids safe. Because when you talk, they hear you. Everyone has a community to lean on, a neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. You've talked with your kids and shared clear expectations, but you're not with them every minute. Your community members, friends and relatives, teachers and coaches, faith leaders, and other important adults in your kids' lives can be your eyes, ears, and a supportive influence when you're not around, reinforcing your messages with your kids and alerting you to warning signs of underage drinking or other substance use. So talk with your kids about these issues and involve the members of your community to help keep your kids safe. Because when you talk, they hear you.
When you need your banker, they should be ready to put you first. At Wintrust, you can have the banking experience you need and the one you deserve. Ready for a change? We've made it even easier. Our new sophisticated online platform makes opening accounts a breeze, but our bankers are always here for you. Open a new Total Access checking account in minutes at wintrust.com/fast. Plus, get $300.
$100 required to open. Requirements to qualify. Must use link to apply.
Member FDIC.
Rise and shine, Fox Valley listeners. It's time to kickstart your day with First Shift with Marky B on WRMN 1410 AM. From 6 to 9 a.m., join the chatter that gets you clued in with the latest buzz around town. Don't just sip on your coffee. Let Marky B brew your morning with the perfect mix of news, views, and moves. Dial us in or live stream at WRMN1410.com and make your mornings a whole lot brighter. WRMN 1410 AM. We're the voice of the Valley, and we're here to talk.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. Fake sneakers, fake cosmetics, and even fake pills. Crooks are selling counterfeit versions of just about everything. Last year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products were sold in the U.S. Sure, it may seem like saving a few bucks on the things you want isn't a big deal, but counterfeits are usually made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you've paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals and may support child labor, drugs, and even gangs. Smells like big crime to me. So if you still think buying fake products is harmless, think again. And remember, if you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart, buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention Council.
Six bayonets, comrades. This is Chief Warrant Officer 5, Michael Francis Tuman, back to you with the Chief Guard of the Republic Veteran Radio Shoutout Show. Hoping for a lot more veterans to call in. Maybe I'm making them angry. Maybe they just agree with me too much to call me up. You can call up and say, hey, great job. I agree with you. That'd be fine with me. So we're on the Fox River Valley Media Network out of Elgin, WRMN 1410. And also, you can live stream us, WRMN1410.com. And we have a studio call-in number, 847-931-1410. That's the last four is easy to remember. The first three and the last four, it's the middle three that I get confused with.
931.
Yeah, 931.
Yeah.
Or you can hit up in the Facebook comments. And then I heard on the sports show as I was driving in here that you guys are also on LinkedIn. So there's like a LinkedIn link to listen on LinkedIn.
Wow, yeah.
I'm going to check that out.
Some of this is still news to me, too, Mike. We're advancing every day.
Yeah, the advance like everything else. We're advancing into the 21st century from the 19th century.
Right.
Because this stuff is really old. I mean, I thought, hey, I still have a MySpace account.
Yeah.
But that was the original thing. And I don't know how they let that die off, how they lost their corporate share on that. Anyway, so getting back into the younger veterans not being a part of the American Legion or the VF Veterans of Foreign Wars or any other disabled American veterans, any other of the veteran groups, and that's my belief is that they just think we're all a bunch of right-wing fuddy-duddies. And I challenge them to come in, to join a group, and to take over. Come in and take over. Get enough of your buddies in. Have them elect you in. And if you think we're right-wing fuddy-duddies, get into the driver's seat. I'm not going to say it's going to be a tough time. It might be a little tough time, but it could be very rewarding. And steer the American Legion in the direction that you want it to go. You know, unfortunately, it's illegal to organize into a form of union or to organize a labor group within the military. So the military, and I'm including in this the Coast Guard, which is a military-like branch. So it's a service branch, right? It's illegal to unionize because you don't want the bulk of the members, which are enlisted, to dictate to the officers what job they should do, or to have a job action in a time of national emergency where they're just not going to operate. That's why that is illegal. So they have organizations called one of them, the big one is the I never did join it, the Association of the U.S. Army. Right? There's also Reserve Officers Association. These are groups for like people that are currently serving, and they pay for lobbyists. They don't have a work organization, but they pay for lobbyists to get their point and what they want for their members across the Congress. When I was working at the Pentagon in the office of the Chief of the Army Reserve over in Fort Belvoir, they actually had a section dedicated to going into Congress and to lobbying Congress for the needs of the Army Reserve, just for our needs. And we're a service organization under the Pentagon and everything, and we got to lobby Congress to look into our needs. All right, so without the American Legion and the VFW and the other groups, I'm just mentioning the big ones right now. If you're a member of another organization, call up and let me know, right? Without these other groups, you can write a letter to your congressman. Maybe he'll get it. Maybe you know him personally. Maybe go shake his hand and tell him what you want done for veterans. Whether he's going to vote for it or whether he's going to introduce a bill or support a bill is unlikely compared to a lobbyist for the American Legion or for the VFW that goes in and says, listen, the 2 million members that I represent, all right, would like to have this done. And guess what? They vote. So if we go down to 1 million members, our influence drops by 50%. If the organization goes away, our influence drops by 100%. In order to keep the organizations going, we need young blood. I'm not going to beg. I'm just stating the fact. We need young blood, and it should be every guy out there in the Legion's business, including mine, to go out and get this young blood in and to convince them that it's a worthy thing, and to have meetings that are worthy of their time. I mean, some guy takes time off from his family to come to a meeting, and he sits there and he's ignored and he's told to be quiet because we're the old guys and we know how this is done. He's never showing up again. He's never paying his dues again. That's it. All right. So
we have a question on YouTube.
Great.
For you, Mike. Dennis checks in, says, how does your group fight the stigma that most of these groups are just veteran drinking clubs?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's a good one. One, we fight the stigma. My post fights the stigma is we don't have a bar. We don't have a bar.
That'll do it.
And a lot of these groups, through mismanagement, because they're not professional bar managers, a lot of times through outright theft, all right? They've lost their bars. They've lost their licenses, all right? They've lost all that stuff. And now they have to rely on having an actual meeting and have to do things. And the stigma is there. I agree with it. I joined and I says, oh man, and I was pretty, I could drink. I've been on the wagon for like 3 weeks, but I could drink, all right? And I'm like, great, I'll be able to drink with these old war buddies and tell war stories. And I show up at the post that I joined, Post 104, and yeah, these guys were so old they couldn't drink because they couldn't mix their meds with the drinks. I'm like, what? And then you'd have to bring your own because we didn't have a bar. So, yeah, there's a stigma to that, but we have to really fight that stigma. What we really should be saying is we are here to help veterans, and we're here to help the community. Our post has got a great thing going with the Schiller Park schools. Schiller Park is right over there by O'Hare Airport. It's pretty close to where I live in Chicago. That's the post I joined. And we go into the schools in our American Legion uniforms with our American Legion funny hats. And these 3rd and 4th graders just love to see us there as military. And we can tell them war stories. They ask us questions about where we were, what we did, and everything. And you could have just been, and I'm not saying just been, they don't care what you did in the military because to them, everything was hardcore. You put on that uniform, you're instantly a hardcore hero. So we go to the community and we show these kids, we did things patriotic, we're good citizens. We continue to help the community. All right. So on the lower level, we show up at the schools. The teachers know us. We're not a bunch of drinkers there. But there are posts that still have the bars, and it looks like a drinking club, and they get their meeting over with so they could start drinking. Yeah, that's going to happen. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But, okay, so one of my buddies, he tells me, he's an older guy. He's in his 80s, right? And he says, one of the things that that reduced a lot of these fraternal organizations was television. When televisions became cheap and everyone got a television in their house and they start broadcasting and you got cable TV, 297 channels of nothing to watch, right? And they could stay at home now and they can make their own cocktails whatever way they wanted. And they didn't have to go to the bar to see the game because they could pay, less than it would cost them in drinks to live stream it on their own television. And they could sit there at home. So they didn't, when I was a young kid, we had a 13-inch black and white TV. And when my dad finally graduated from college in 1972 on the GI Bill, my grandmother brought him a 19-inch color TV, and we thought that was fantastic. And I bet you people wouldn't even be able to see a 19-inch color TV. Now, that's a small computer screen. People got that in their cars. They got 4 of them in their cars, flat screen and everything. So if you wanted to see something on a larger screen TV, see the fight, and everything, you would go to one of these organizations because it was cheaper to drink at the Legion or at the VFW than it was to drink at a regular bar. But now, not so much, right? So if people think that it's only a drinking organization, here's your clue. Get into a post that doesn't have a bar.
That'll do it.
And I tell you, a lot of these old guys, they just don't drink because it mixes with their meds. But if you want to get one where it's a big drinking fest, well, keep visiting them till you find the one with the proper amount of drinkers that you like. Or visit them until you find the one with the proper amount of non-drinkers that you like. Again, it crosses the spectrum. So we'll be back for the last quarter of the show. This is Chief Warrant Officer 5, retired Michael Francis Tuman, and 1410 AM, WRMN 1410.com, or the Facebook Live.
Yeah, we'll be right back. And don't forget to listen to us today between 2 and 4 because we're going to be live from Hampshire. They have Holiday on State Street going on, and Dean and Matt are on their way out there right now. So live coverage from Hampshire here in place of our Rich on Tech program today between 2 and 4. Next hour, it's Jeff with his Jeff Michaels Show. Stick around for that.
Dine out with family and friends at Nick's Pizza in Elgin or Crystal Lake. Nick serves up award-winning thin crust and Chicago-style pizza. Eat in or carry out. In addition to Nick's fabulous pizza, let Nick's cater your events with pizza, pasta, Italian beef, and other delicious offerings. Their big banquet rooms can accommodate all your event needs. So, for great pizza in a Northwoods, cabin-style atmosphere, bring family and friends to Nick's. Visit nickspizzapub.com. Roll into Bolero in Algonquin or Roselle and wake up with a story to tell. Bolero is bowling, gaming, dining, and nightlife with a twist. Score a sweet deal every day of the week and save big by checking out the daily deals online. Team up with your friends and hit the lanes by forming your own social club. Clubs offer lively competition and laid-back fun for everyone. From beginners to pros, make new friends, bowl, and hang out at a happening place. Visit bolero.com. Here at WRMN Radio, we try to connect with the community and discuss important issues, like our current mental health crisis. Here's Lori Baker, President and CEO of AID.
I think most people, when they see young children thinking about suicide at the ages of 5 and 6 and 7, I mean, that's shocking to me that children even know that they want to harm themselves somehow. I know it's difficult. I definitely feel the pinch. We all feel the pinch at the gas pump, at the grocery store, right, in our rents, but I think most people could handle 27 cents a day to help kids and seniors and people experiencing homelessness.
Discussions like this take place on the first shift, weekday mornings from 6 to 10, right here on WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN 1410 Radio on Facebook.
Okay, antibodies, huddle up. We're a great team, but the flu is dominating. The good news is the human we're protecting just got his flu shots. That means all of us antibodies have strong new gear that will help us fight and defend against the flu. We must win so that our human can stay healthy and help protect the people he cares about most.
Let's work as a team to defend against the flu. Gear up with a flu shot to help protect yourself and others and reduce your risk of being sick or hospitalized with the flu. Learn more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
For local information and fun times in the mornings, listen to Marky B and Larry Jones on the first shift.
Maybe we need to get a radio intern in to help you.
Maybe so.
Somebody that you won't have to pay and you can treat them tough.
I can haze them.
You can't haze. You'll get fired. Remember that guy from Northwestern?
Yeah.
Gone.
Did he really do it?
You don't have to really do it. If somebody says you did,
yeah,
good enough. Maybe I'm going to accuse you of hazing me. I don't have to prove it.
It's the first shift, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. right here on WRMN.
Six bayonets, comrades, just for any of you that don't know, that bugle call is the actual military bugle call for fixed bayonets. The last command you ever want to hear in combat. Because you know things are gone wrong, you're out of ammo, you're in a dire situation, and you're going to have to cold blade your way out of it. And so this is the Chief Guard of the Republic Veteran Radio Shoutout Show. I'm Michael Francis Tuman, your host. I was a Chief Warrant Officer 5 in the Army. I did 38 years between the Army Reserve and National Guard with 5 combat deployments and numerous non-combat deployments. I'm here every Saturday, noon to 1, WRMN, 1410 AM, Fox River Valley Media Network out of Elgin, streaming on WRN1410.com. Follow us live on Facebook. Our studio number is 847-931-1410. Hey, if you didn't catch the whole show and you're just catching the edge of it, I'm actually on Facebook Live, and you can go and you could join the channel there. What did they call? Subscribe on Facebook to WRMN 1410's Facebook channel. And then you could see me, all my shows, well, most of them that I know of live. I canned one that was audio only, and I'm working on improving that show. But I was watching myself. I'm going, man, that guy's having a good time. Like, I actually look forward to coming here in the mornings. I come a little early, then I walk over to the Blue Box Cafe. And I was looking for a place, just to get a sandwich or something. I'm like, Blue Box Cafe. And it didn't strike me until I went in there, and I'm like, oh my God, this is Doctor Who themed. The trouble is, it's mostly the new Doctor Who, right? And these young kids, I think they've only seen the new one. And I grew up with WDTW Channel 11, and they're showing the old Doctor Who, Tom Baker, and the other guys whose names escape me, because once you've seen Tom Baker, you forget about all the other guys. Yeah, so I go there every time I come here, unless it's closed. I'll get myself a nice sandwich and a cup of coffee. Great young kids, a great clean place, nice place, and if you want to actually meet me before the show, I'll be there at around between 11 and 11:30. Right? So, and do we have any more questions or call-ins on the board?
We just had Daisy V again saying, good mention, Dennis. The organizations are social and for the overall benefit of veterans and their families. No commanders or officers giving out orders to anyone. They just use military similar ranking system.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say no commanders. I've seen people talk to people like they're ordering them to do something. I don't respond well to that in a voluntary organization. And when I see them doing it to me, mind you, I'm 6 foot tall. I'm 225 pounds. I was a paratrooper. I could do back in the day, I could do 90 push-ups, no problems. And to have someone 5 inches shorter than me, maybe 4 or 5 years younger than me, shout at me, I'm just wondering what they're doing to other people.
Yeah.
Because I'm a scary person. I really am. I mean, I've been 27 years on the streets of Chicago, and I barely keep it in check a lot of times. I have to walk away from a lot of situations because I realize my violence button is being pushed, and I don't want that pushed.
We have a phone call.
Yes, please.
847-931-1410. It looks like we might have Matt on the line. Let's see. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Chief. Hey, Chief. I don't know. It's Matt Jukic.
Hey, Matt. Oh, my God. Jukic. He was with me on my second tour in Afghanistan. He's a MPI investigator. Really great guy. The biggest Serbian you ever saw in your life.
What's going on? You sound exactly the same. I just watched you on YouTube. You almost look the same, too.
Yeah, I'm growing in the, what they call it a Burnside. It was made famous in the Civil War. That's how old I feel.
I hear you, brother. I feel that old, too, sometimes.
So you made warrant, right?
Yeah, I actually I'm on the list to get promoted to CW3 here.
Oh, great!
Probably in the next couple weeks.
Feel great, brother. You get to put the egg salad on your hat. Got to buy a new hat.
I had to buy all new shit. Oh, I had to buy all new. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I had to buy all new patches and stuff.
Yeah. But hey,
so how you been? How's retirement?
Oh, retirement's okay. I'm trying to keep busy here. Like I says, I'm kind of overextended in the Legion and a little overextended in some other things. I wrote 13 novels.
I did. I read one of them. You told me. Well, we've stayed connected over the years through messages and emails. You said one of your characters in one of your books was after me, so I had to buy that book and see what your impression of me was after so many years.
Yeah. Well, no, my impression's always, you guys were great, man. You guys were great over there. I liked working with you guys. The guys I was supposed to be working with, those guys were, the captain I was working for, he was kind of a joke and everything. Yeah.
We had a good time. That was a fun mission. I learned a lot, and I learned a lot from you, and I learned a lot from the people we were working with, and it was a good time. I have good memories of that year.
Yeah. That's the secret of life, is learning from people. You can learn from everyone. I don't care how dumb they are. All right. I don't care how smart they are. I don't care how arrogant they are. or how mean they are, you could learn, if you're not learning something from them, you're learning how not to be them. It's like
exactly. Exactly.
Hey, do you keep up with anyone else there?
A couple of the guys that I mobbed with, I still in contact with occasionally. It's been 20 years since almost 20 years since.
Oh my God, you're right.
So that group, I don't. I mean, I was mobilized twice after that to support the mission of my new job, but those guys, probably it's been 18 years now. So yeah, I mean, just occasional emails, some text messages, some direct messages. Other than that, no, nobody. I haven't seen any of those guys, and man, it's been a long time.
I went back in 2012 and I was working with the Polish Army over in Gozny, and I was staying in a plywood hut again, and then in like 2017, my son went over there with the 82nd Airborne, and he was at the embassy in a hearted building with flush toilets and stuff like that. I'm like, hey.
I always remember telling people stories about how, like, you go to these little fobs out in the middle of nowhere, and you go to the bathroom or the latrine or whatever you wanted to call it, and the same flies that you were wiping off your rear end to put your pants back on were, when you went to the DFAC, which was about 10 feet from the bathroom, the same flies would be visiting you while you're trying to eat your food.
Yeah, well, now you get making people not want to join the military.
Hey, well, maybe we could all get a disability rating together, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. If veterans rated, well, you would always get that one guy in there that, he would think that, what I did was the worst. And unless you did exactly what I did, I'm not giving you any rating. All right. So, hey, Matt, it's good to hear from you. Hey, keep calling and pass this around to your friends and everything. All right.
All right. Yes, sir.
All right.
You take care. Good hearing from you.
All right, so I'm going to wind up the show. I'll be back next week, same time, same station. All right, same Elgin station, WRMN, 1410 a.m., noon to 1 on Saturday. Chief Guard of the Republic Veteran Radio Shoutout Show. Streaming 1410.WRMN, 1410.com, or on Facebook Live. And
thanks a lot. Appreciate the show, Mike. Good show. It's 12:58.
Now featuring international crime thriller, I Married a Bot Madam. Available on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle editions. The paperback is also available at other book retailers. Check out Michael Tuman's webpage at Scilink.net. That's Papa Sierra Yankee Lima India November Kilo November Echo Tango. Join me, your host, Michael Francis Tuman, on my radio show,